I'm going to show you the difference between a real and a fake classic Chanel bag. We're going to be looking at the packaging, the leather, the clasp, the hardware, the heat stamp, the stitching, and the serial codes. I've seen over 100,000 bags, both real and fake, and I've built up so much knowledge that I want to share with you. After I've shown you the differences, you're going to know exactly what a real Chanel should look like. So the bag on the right is real and the one on the left is fake. The first thing we're going to look at is actually not the bag itself, it's the packaging, because it's a great place to start. The fake box is a lot smaller than the real one, and the black on the fake box is a lot shinier. The size of the Chanel logo in proportion to the size of the box is way too big on the fake one. And then if you actually open the boxes up, you can see that the fake dust bag, it opens at the top like this. And then the real dust bag, and how it should open, is on the side like this. So this is the real one and this is the fake one. And one more thing that not all fake bags come with, but if your Chanel bag comes with this, you instantly know it's a fake. And that is a dodgy looking receipt in a plastic wallet. This is a huge red flag. Now let's look at the bags. When they're both sat on the surface, you can see that the fake one doesn't sit flush with the table. It kind of looks like it's about to fall over. And when you compare it to the real one, you can see how flush with the surface it's meant to sit. Now let's look at the main feature of the bag, and that's the CC logo clasp. This is really hard to see on camera, but hopefully I can make it a bit easier for you. So the clasp on the fake bag is shiny, it's a little bit raised, and it's rounded on the edges. But when you compare it to the real bag, you can see that it should be a lot flatter, and the edges where the letters end are sharper and much cleaner finishes. Now moving on to the leather. Chanel obviously uses super high quality leather, and there's a few ways that you can detect whether a bag has used quality leather or not. The first test is the smell test. So fake bags often have a horrible smell to them. Like if you smell a fake bag, it like stinks of very cheap material, almost like plastic, due to the way they've been packaged and the materials that they actually use. The look of the leather is actually a massive giveaway as well. On the fake bag, the leather is shinier and puffier than when you compare it to the real bag. The straps on the bag are actually a really interesting place to look, because Chanel was actually the first person to combine a metal and a leather strap as one. So there's two places to look at on the strap, and that's the hardware and the leather. If you look at the hardware on the fake, it's shiny and thick, and if you compare it to the real one, it just shouldn't be as shiny and it's a lot thinner. And then if you look at the leather on the fake bag, the fake leather is shiny and a lot thinner, whereas if you compare it to the real strap, the leather is a lot more matte black and way thicker. Now let's open the bag up and look at the engraving on the back of the clasp. So the real engraving is sharp and each letter has consistent spacing between the other letters. When you look at the fake engraving, the letters are smudged. The screws on the fake bag are smaller and the lines in the middle are thinner. Another part of the hardware which has engraving to take a quick look at is the button on the inside. The real logo on the button isn't exactly perfect, but if you look at the fake engraving, it's much bigger. And if you imagined a line going across the middle of the button, the fake logo would go over it. Whereas if you look at the real one, the logo is only engraved in the top half of the button. Now let's look at the classic maroon color on the inside flap. The fake leather is less grainy, the color of maroon is a lot darker, and the pocket itself comes up way higher, closer to the top of the bag. The stitching on the fake bag blends into the color of the leather. However, you can see on the real bag that it's a completely different shade of maroon, and it can be obviously seen. If you want to look even closer, if you zoom in on the stitching on the CC logo, at the cross section on the fake bag, it has only 3 stitches. But if you look at the real bag, it should actually have 4 stitches. You know you're a pro when you can spot things this small. Now let's look at the heat stamp. A heat stamp isn't just on Chanel bags. It can be found on loads of other luxury brands, and it basically tells you where the bag was made. And most places will either say France, Italy, USA, or Spain. The heat stamp on the fake bag is thin and quite far away from that stitched in logo above it. But when you compare it to the real one, the font is thicker and it's much closer to that CC logo. Again, if you look super close to the fake one, you can see that there are wrinkles in the foil, whereas if you're looking at the real one, it's completely pressed into the leather with no foil rising. Now let's flip it over and take a look at the serial code. Now notice I said serial code, not date code. So the date code on most bags tells you what year the bag was made. And Chanel bags did used to have date codes up until 2021, when they switched from hologram stickers to metal plates. These metal plates show an 8-digit code with an NFC chip behind it. There are currently no correlation between the serial code and what date the bag was made. So all we know is if your bag has a metal plate, then it's made after 2021. Looking at the fake bag, the metal plate is far too square and the CC logo is cut too sharp and it's filled in too much. If you compare it to how it should look on the real one, the metal plate should be rounded and the CC logo is a bit fuzzy and all the gaps are not filled in. In my last video, I taught you the difference between a real and a fake Christian Dior tote bag, so just click here to watch that one.